But I grew up with that, I guess the 50s mentality of, you know, you have canned goods and you have fresh salads, but they're usually with iceberg lettuce. And, you know, as a young child, I wasn't that interested in food. And now because of Ayurveda, I'm really interested in the healthy aspect of food. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy you know, I think we saw a Facebook page I had of you know, ice cream sundae I had for in the summer. Trying to do just one a year, but it's fun. And you know, you really need to love your ingredients and put love into your food. And so we're going to talk about what to cook when it's warm out, and also with relating to stir fry. And today I have pre-made some basmati rice you see in this pot. And basmati rice, the word basmati literally means fragrant. And basmati grows in the Asian continent. It's used in India, eaten with every meal. It's a major staple. And well, some people perceive rice as being high in calorie content, but basmati rice actually has a medium to low glycemic index. So it burns a slow, steady burn. And it's a safe food for any diabetic or pre-diabetic. And it contains a lot of vitamins and minerals, fiber, and protein, and has less fat than other rices. So I recommend looking for basmati rice in your grocery store. And there's about 5 strains of basmati rice. I was just looking it up today. They all have numbers, and they're associated with the areas in India. And I don't know that much about the different strains. I think it has to do with their fragrance. But what they did say, and what I learned from one of my Ayurvedic teachers, is that the aged basmati rice is a very good food. It's more fragrant. It has longer, the strands of the grain are longer than the just regular basmati rice, which is white. Like I use Lungberg basmati rice, organic. It's not aged, but every now and then I will go to a grocery store and I'll find a burlap bag. It says basmati rice, and it says, you know, Sanskrit words on it, and I know it's aged because it's in this container, you know, like this burlap bag. It costs a little more because of the aging process. It takes time, I guess, over a year to age these grains. And I want to do some more research on how they age them in pots, in earthenware pots. So this recipe we're going to start with is called Indian golden rice, or you can also see it on referred to as a lemon rice, because we use a small amount of cooking oil and some herbs and lemons to make this dish. Oops. So lemons, anytime you're buying fruit, if you can get organic, it is the best for us. And some fruits in particular, the softer fruits, it's really important because the pesticides go in through the rind. Not so much with lemons, and I have to say these aren't organic right now. Just going out and grocery shopping, sometimes you find things, sometimes you don't, as you know. But we will be using lemons for this, and we're going to be using, what I'm going to do is I'm going to temper the spices and in a frying pan, and then add them to this rice that's already been cooked. So it's a cooler meal. And I wanted to just show you before, the other things we're going to be using from my garden. I have some Swiss chard. I have some, I just went out and picked these, literally. I have some peas, and I've shelled the peas. We're gonna be using peas in this recipe, the next recipe, for vegetables sauteed with oil. And a zucchini, and this is a different variety of zucchini. I think this one's called Costata romanesca. My husband grows 3 different varieties of zucchini, and this one has a lower yield in the field, but it has a really delicious taste, and it doesn't get to be very big, which, you know, it's very tender. So the 3 recipes I'm going to make: the Indian golden rice, which doesn't include vegetables. I'm going to make a rata, which is a yogurt and cucumber dish. It's like a condiment that you would have if you went to an Indian restaurant, or even, you know, this is good picnic food. And then I'll make the pala, which is the Indian vegetables sauteed with oil. And that I'm going to use a variety of vegetables. The recipe I have has you using diced beets, and I was going to do that. I have beets out in the garden, but beets take over, you know, the color purple, even on your hands. And although they're very good, I like to eat them in the fall because they are a blood cleanser. And by the time we're done with summer and the heat, in terms of talking about this in terms of Ayurveda and digestion, you kind of need to take a rest and cleanse out before the fall. So that I sort of save, the beets can be a little heating. I sort of save that for fall. So let's get started. I'm going to use black mustard seeds. I'm going to get my pan out for this. I'm going to use a regular saucepan. So I'm going to temper these spices in this saucepan. And what tempering means is you put a little oil in the saucepan and you heat up the saucepan and you add your spices to them. And the spices start sizzling and almost blooming. And when we're using, I have a spice container here. So I keep this container out because I use this container continuously, and I change my spices up. So it's handy. It's there. 7 little containers. I never counted them. 7 little containers I put my spices in. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about the importance of grinding your own spices. Have you ever gone to a coffee store, if you're a coffee, love coffee, a coffee aficionado, and you see beans, and when they grind them, they smell so fresh compared to pre-ground coffee, because the oils are expressed out right away when you apply pressure to a spice. So this spice, right, this grain, this little seed is coriander seed, and this can be ground. You can use a mortar and a pestle and grind it that way, or you could use an electric grinder. And it looks like this when it's done. So I grind small amounts. I keep them in jars. This is a lot. I usually don't keep this much around because of the freshness component, but I made some tea this morning with it, using it. So I keep them small. I don't grind the mustard seeds. They're just whole, and they're black. These are black. They still have the little shell on them, opposed to the yellow mustard seeds. So they have a little more nutrition. So this one, I'm going to just take a dish, because we're going to use several spices for this, and I will give you the recipe afterwards. I didn't give you the measurements, but I think this teaspoon's about 1/4 of a teaspoon. So I'm going to take a good sized 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to be using black mustard seeds. This recipe calls for coriander seeds whole, but my husband doesn't like the taste of them. So I'm going to use the ground coriander instead. He just doesn't like biting into the coriander for him. So, you know, you just grind it. That's the same thing. So I put in some coriander seeds. And then it calls for 2 whole cloves. So this is going to be, and whole cloves are heating. You know, whole cloves are, if you ever had a toothache in the old days, or, you know, grandma would say, you know, bite a clove because it has a anti-pain aspect to it. You know, so we're going to add the 2 cloves to that, and we're going to add a bay leaf, and I'm going to, of course, I'm going to crunch up the bay leaf. Bay leaves may have to be replaced. I looked at the cabinet; they're getting a little bit. They've lost their color. And I've always said, I think I've said to you in other classes, that good spices don't die; they just fade away. So yeah, it's not got much of a smell to it. So I need to buy some more of that. And I'm going to use a pinch of mineral salt. This is from Redmond Real Salt, and what makes it so good is unrefined mineral salt, made in America. It's got a lot of minerals in it. It's exactly the way you know, it came from the earth near Redmond, Utah, an ancient salt deposit, it says on the package. So, whoops. And pink salt lowers blood pressure. If you know anybody with high blood pressure, pink salt is a good additive. Then the other thing I'm going to add is a very small amount of hing vastic. Hing vastic is asafoetida, which is a very pungent spice. I'm being very conservative with that. Hing is good for removing gas in the body, and removing gas is always important because according to what teachers have told me, we have, you know, there's a lot of lightness we need to kind of tamp down in the body with that. So those are the spices. So I'm going to add, we'll have some coconut oil today. I'm using coconut oil. It's cooling oil. When you think about coconuts, where do they grow? They grow in the tropics, which are warm. So they're put there to help the environment cool. People drink coconut water. They use coconut in the coconut flakes, which actually this recipe calls for when we get those out. Oh, yeah. One of my recipes calls for coconut flakes. I knew I got something here. So I'm going to add this to the pan, put it on the stove, and I'll turn the camera around so you can see that. So I'm just going to guesstimate, not a tablespoonful, that's a lot of oil, probably a teaspoon full. It's already getting, it's so warm in here, it's already melting. So, because that's what coconut oil does. As a massage therapist, and when I was practicing pre-COVID, I would be doing a lot of Abhyanga massages for people, which I still recommend in the fall doing. And in the summer, if you're doing your own massage for whatever reason, coconut oil is really good because it cools the body down. So I'm going to heat that. Let me turn this over towards the stove. Then I'll bring it over and it starts moving. Promise you. Whoops. Okay. And yeah, these burners, after 1 week of being in the cottage, these burners work the opposite way, so I have to retrain myself. Like, remember, and you don't need a match for these. They work fine. So let me see what I'm looking for. Spoon? Oh, I have it right here. So I'm letting it melt. And I'm going to add the spices. But now they're just looking like this. They're not doing anything yet. You can see that. But they're going to be in a minute. And this is the kind of thing you really have to watch, because when you're cooking with oil, of course you don't want to burn. You don't want to burn the oil. That will destroy, create free radicals in oil, and that wouldn't be good. So you always want to use fresh organic oil, cold pressed if you can, because of that importance of the oil, the fragility of oil. We're going to let that just, you might even hear the popping. I want to remind you, if you ever use, if you do try this recipe and you use the mustard seeds, that they tend to pop, these little mustard seeds, right out of the pan. So watch, you know, don't look too closely at the pan. You don't want to get, they have a mind of their own. You can hear them. I'm going to turn that down. The only thing I can't deliver to you right now, and I wish I could, would be the fragrance. Because it starts smelling, you notice you can smell the spices, and you're like, wow, there's something going on here. This is great. Beginning to happen a little bit. Beginning to pop. I think I added some black pepper to that too. Did I not say that? Yes, I'm going to add a pinch of black pepper. Now this is pre-ground pepper, and it's interesting because I buy small amounts at the health food store, but when I grind my own, have a pepper grinder, it's so much, if you just taste the difference, I'm going to add a pinch of that. The difference between the ground pepper and then the pre-ground pepper is it's an interesting comparison taste-wise. Ground peppers look sharper, fresher. You know, this feels like it's great. So I am letting that temper a little bit. And I may put a heat diffuser under it so I can talk to you while we're doing this. Because after that, we are going to be making lemon juice. We'll talk to you about lemon juice. So in order to get a fresh lemon, really squeeze a fresh lemon, you need to massage it first, literally. I'm not just saying that because I like to do massage. You know, I've seen some people roll it on the counter, but if you massage it, you have acupressure points in your hands, so it kind of, it's good. It feels it's good for your hands. Check on that. Getting close, but not ready. So I'm going to use 1.5 lemons, or you could use 1.5 lime, you know. But I'm just going to squeeze this. Good. Oh, that's feeling like it's softer. It almost feels like I'm getting the pulp. I'm breaking down the fibers inside the fruit with the hand pressure, so you get more juice out of the lemon. And I'm going to turn that off. Yep. Cutting it in half. I want to get rid of the seeds. So you see it's it got a little soft because I have really given it some pressure. And I love this. This is a great juicer. It's a container that holds your juice. You can take and use a different top and leave it in the fridge so you'll have lemon juice available. So I'm going to just grind that up. Now you can garnish this lemon rice with curry leaves, which you can buy. You can buy curry leaves in the store. There's something I did buy pre-ground, and because I don't live near an Asian market, I can't get those things readily. Like just get a few curry leaves. So I am grinding that. I'll check on my spices one more time. Oh, great. All right. That's 1 lemon. They smell so good. And, you know, I have I just grabbed the lime. I have half a lime in the fridge. Excuse me, I'm going to get that. And we use a mixture, lemon lime. Yeah, I'm going to use a mixture of lemon and lime for this today. Whoops. I think I'll clean that off. Yeah. So, you know, you can eat this rice fairly at room temperature. You can, of course, heat it again. And I should also mention that you can add unsalted nuts to this at the end. If you don't have a nut allergy, you could use cashews. I'm going to use peanuts today. Yep. Okay. So here we go. So I am going to then take my rice. And I'm going to put this. I'm going to turn this back on again because I'd like to hear just a tiny bit. Yeah. Actually, I should mention that you don't want to heat the lemon juice because that destroys the vitamin C. So I just wanted to make sure I could get all the juices, get the pan, all the spices off the pan. I'm going to put this mixture in If you want to give it some more color, you can put some turmeric in, which I may do because I like to add color to things. And it doesn't have a lot of color in it right now. So I'm probably going to add, but the smell is delicious. It smells lemony, right? You know, it just has a very good smell. So I'm going to put some turmeric, which is, you know, that yellow powder. Turmeric, I don't think you could ever use enough turmeric. It's an anti-inflammatory. You've probably heard about the properties of cumin and turmeric, and it's just has a lot of good properties. So that will give it some color. And what I will, oh, I really wish I could carry the smell out to you because it smells lemony, light. You know, lemons are great for the summer because they have an astringency, cool us down. And then I'm just going to put some of these nuts on in there and a little bit of curry. I'm not really measuring here. You know, that's just enough, just a handful of curry. Curry is good for tonifying the liver and the gallbladder. Can't get much better than that. So that's the lemon rice. And got that for part of our meal. I'm going to cover that up. And then we're going to start with, let's make the Indian, yep, time here. I'm going to make the yogurt cucumber dish. So that one, you need to peel some cucumbers, and you don't take all the skin off, so you have a little color. Let me get the cucumbers out. Wash them. Use my back. All right, so I am going to peel the cucumbers and put them in here. I'm going to just leave a few. Do you want to take out any seeds in the cucumber? So I'm just going to peel them a little bit. Peel this one. And what we're going to end up doing is grating these cucumbers, but first I have to cut them in half to take the seeds out. I don't think these are seedless ones. I did buy these. I don't have any on hand in the garden yet. Cucumbers are incredibly good for summer. Making a cucumber, you can make a cucumber drink with taking cucumbers and putting them in a blender, adding it with coconut water, and you have a really nice cooling drink. So yeah, this has some seeds. I'm gonna see about scraping them out. What I'm gonna use is probably I have a grapefruit spoon. That'll work perfectly. Grapefruit spoon, because it has the little serrated edges on it, you know, I mean, why not? And just take out the seeds. Scrape out the seed. And put this stuff in the compost later. We have a really nice, it's called the earth machine. It's in the back of the house, and it takes compost, and the animals don't get in it, which is great. Just have to empty it every now and then. So let's save that for the compost pile. And then I'm going to take my grater. Just this one. Tried and true. Looks like it's been through a lot of grating, but it does work. So I'm going to grate the cucumber. That you got to be careful with. Very careful when you grate your cucumbers. You don't want to end up putting in parts of your skin. That's not in the recipe. No, not at all. See, I'm getting some grated going on. I think what I could do with the rest of it, if it doesn't grate, is to actually cut it. You could probably use a Cuisinart for this and just get it done faster, but if you do it too fast, you might end up liquefying. You know, cucumbers are mostly water, so you don't want to liquefy too much. To this, we're going to add spices. And why do we add those spices? We add them because they aid our digestion. So black pepper is a really good one, all around general good spice because it's so heating. It does help the gastric juices in the body, helps the body get ready for digesting food. It's always a good one to have around. Fresh. There are different types of pepper, of course. There's, different colors. There's Szechuan pepper, peppercorns, which are a little more fruity in their quality, used in a lot of Szechuan cooking, of course, and from that region of China. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these, and I do use my hands a lot with cooking because you just going to wipe that off. I'm going to just cut. This is the wrong knife. I don't usually use a tiny serrated knife, but I'm just going to cut these up because I don't want to waste. I know this is going to be good. It's going to go fast. Probably the shelf life for this, I think, would be a few days, and then it starts getting a little watery, and you just want to make it fresh all the time. If you can make things fresh, period, it's much better for you. Has more energy, more life force, generally speaking. And these recipes, I'll make sure that you have them. These 3 recipes. So here we have pretty much some of the bigger pieces. I'll just take out. Pretty much we have the mixture. In some Indian restaurants, you see this mixed with, it's used making with onion. Just onion, and the red coloring comes from another spice. But this one is a little more suited for summer. So to this, we're going to add black pepper, and it's about 1/4 teaspoon. I'm just going to, I have a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to be a little on the shy side because I think this is a smaller amount of cucumbers here. So I'm adding black pepper to that. A teaspoon of cumin powder. Cumin seeds look like this. They're little tiny seeds. They're kind of crescent shaped. And the cumin powder should be ground up. I ground up this cumin powder. I'm adding that. Cumin powder is just another good digestive aid. Okay, I think its Indian name is Jeera, Jeera. Now to this, I'm going to add. I'm not going to add any salt. Some of the Ayurvedic doctors I've studied with absolutely say you never add salt to milk products. So maybe because of the heating property of the salt. I haven't really researched that. So here I have the whole yogurt. And I'm going to use, like I say, probably just a 3/4, well, maybe a little under a cup. I think that's fine. Yep. Let's stir this up. This is something you might want to refrigerate right away, but it is, oh my goodness, and you can also, and I was meant to bring in a mint. You can garnish this with a little mint. I have mint, if you have mint growing outside, just put some mint in this because it really makes it nice and smooth. And so this is a condiment, meaning you have a little bit of this on the side of your dish. It's not meant to be eaten by the spoonfuls. You have about, just like a little helping. That's the rata. So I'm going to cover that. Actually, because it's so warm out, I'm going to cover this and put it in the fridge, and I'll bring it back out in a minute, maybe. Because it is warm out here. All right, let me put the yogurt away. Okay. So I think we have, yeah, we do. We're in good time here. We're going to go into making the finely diced vegetables and sauteing. When I advertised this class, I said we're going to be learning to saute vegetables. Then I, you know, with the heat that came on, I thought, why not show you make some things that you can make ahead of time. You know, using rice, and again, using basmati rice for the low glycemic index. It's good for your burns, you know, all day. It really helps the body, gives it energy. So for this one, instead of the beets, I'm going to be using Swiss chard and the zucchini. But I need to wash this first, because I didn't really get a chance to wash my Swiss chard. Because this chard was grown organically, we don't use any, you know, pesticides or anything for pest control. We use MAFCA approved, you know, products, but we don't usually put anything on our Swiss chard. It's got a few holes in it because bugs like it too. Look at that, woo! But I made sure there were no unwanted guests on our chard before I cook it. And I'm going to take a paper towel and just pat it, because, not you, cat, patting. The cat's on the floor looking for food here. But I'm going to save some of the ribbing. I'll take out like this. It looks like somebody munched on this right here. But because I like the color, I love rainbow chard. Boy, and when you grow your own, I get so spoiled, because when I go back to buying something at the store, it's like, oh, even if it looks fresh, it's like, doesn't taste as fresh as when you just picked it maybe 15 minutes ago. So it's just the way it is. So I'm going to throw out the tops anyways a little bit. I'm going to just finely dice this. Many years ago, a friend of my husband's who graduated from the CIA, which is the Culinary Institute of America, showed me the way to hold a knife is you hold it at the very end and you chop it, you make a rocking. That way you always have control of your knife, 2 fingers around right before the handle. So you don't hold it by the handle, you hold it right at that end. And if your knife is sharp enough, and I wished I had sharpened this a little before, you can actually rock it back and forth and get that fine cut. I'm going to have to tear it a little bit because this knife is not as sharp as I like. And I may not use all of this because I'll tell you why. I have so much in my garden, I can just get rid of that. Because I'm going to use the zucchini, and I want to make sure we have 2 cups of finely diced vegetables. I will get my cup measure out. Excuse me. We'll make sure we have the 2 cups. All right. Yeah, I thought that might just be a cup. Pretty close. Yes, yes, yes. So then I'm going to use the zucchini, which I've already washed. We picked it last night. Oh, I want to show you the inside though. Isn't that amazing? It's so full of, it almost looks iridescent, the color. It's so full of energy and life force. That's why, you know, growing your own food does have its rewards, because your labor, the hand labor you put into growing food, you know, sometimes I bemoan the fact that it's a lot of work, but the rewards are great. No kitty. I have a kitty in the background here. Cats are getting so smart. They know what cabinet where their little treats are hidden. Sorry, kitty, not right now. So we're going to use this finely diced, and we're going to add mustard seeds, coconut oil for sauteing. We're going to add shredded coconut after we've tempered the spices. And we're going to put all this together, and it's going to make a Pala, P-A-L-Y-A, and that just means vegetables sauteed in oil. In different regions of India, there are different names for this. That's about 2 cups. Yeah. I just may save that zucchini for something else. I don't know what. Oh, you can have it raw. It's very good that way too. And when it's so tender, it's almost buttery. It's just amazing. And it's interesting. You go out there now and you see the zucchini plants and they're wilted. Some of the squashes, especially our acorn squash, the turgor of the leaves have dropped because the sun's beating on them and they've pulled out all the moisture. But at the end of the day, the leaves will be back up again. So I'm going to take and start this in the wok here. I'm going to start heating my oil. These are really handy. It's just a big wok. Doesn't look really gorgeous, but it is the greatest for sauteing. It's the best. I'm going to add a tablespoon of coconut oil. Now that's a lot, but that's what we're doing. You can cut back on it a little bit, but basically you want to add that oil because we are putting spices in. We're putting, and you know, this is a good, coconut is a good oil, so it's okay to use. I'm adding that. I'm going to add the mustard seed. Sometimes I do get these out ahead of time. I'm not adding the cinnamon yet. The cinnamon goes in when everything's cooled down. I don't want to burn it. I'm putting the mustard seed in. A good helping of mustard seed. Putting in some black pepper. Ooh. Yeah. Okay, any other spice? Shredded coconut. Okay, so you're gonna just over medium heat add these spices and add a little pinch of hing, which is really a pinch. Pinch of hing? Whoa, that's more than a pinch. A pinch of hing. Oh yeah. You can get hing at Banyan Botanicals. They sell hing online. They sell this very good Dabur hing. It's made the traditional way, so it has a little more, it's made according to the traditional text of Ayurveda. Let me show you what these spices are doing so you'll get the idea. Maybe you can see a little bit of that foaminess there. That's the blooming happening on the spices. To that, we're going to add the shredded coconuts. And the shredded coconut, I think, is a half a cup. Yep. Here I gotta watch it pretty much because I don't want to burn the coconut. Off the heat and on the heat. That gets brown pretty quickly. It really doesn't. This burner is set on high for wok cooking. I'm adding the vegetables to that mixture. You can see that. Show you what it looks like there. I'm going to be cooking this, stirring it pretty quickly. If I wasn't broadcasting this, I'd probably put the fan on because it, it starts getting aromatic, but it's not unpleasant at all. It's lovely. Added salt, added black pepper. Taste. I'm just going to come alongside. Yeah. So we're just going to keep stirring this. If it starts getting a little bit, well, the moisture is helping. If it starts getting dry, I sometimes add a few drops of water. I don't add more oil. A lot of traditional Indian cooking has a lot of oil in it. What I might do is if I had a little extra, and I don't know if I do, add a little lemon juice, tiny amount, like a few drops, just to brighten things up. You can go wrong with lemon. You can add lemon and milk together because the kernels, but lemon breaks down the fiber in the vegetables. That's a good thing. Helps you, digest it. This is going to turn out pretty good. It doesn't have the red of the beets, which you could do this all with beets. You could do 2 cups of beets. But when you have whatever you have in your garden works. So I think you'll find it's going to work. And I'm going to saute this until the vegetables get a little translucent. Where we need time. Oh, I've got some time here. And I'm going to put that diffuser back on. That is almost smoking. I did have some extra oil. I'm just going to put that there. Right. That's almost ready, but not quite. These are really old utensils, but they work really well. They came with a wok. They work for sauteing, keep your hands from getting burned, helps you mix it. You want to mix it well. If you don't have a wok, you can use a very broad, large saucepan or frying pan. But you see that the way this wok is shaped, I can kind of move the vegetables around. So I'm not having to, nothing's spilling out. I could put it that way. So let that cook just for a minute. I think it's good. I didn't add my peas. I could add a few. See what happens there. Why not live dangerously? Add your peas late. That's all right. Part of cooking is experimentation. I've heard that good cooks, they can take recipes and take them apart and add them together and make different things. And I believe that's true because as a body worker, I've learned so many different techniques that I could put together what I need for that person quite effortlessly, or I used to be able to anyway, because it's just a matter of practice. It's a matter of how many hours you spent doing that. I think there's a formula that for 100,000 hours is considered, or maybe it's 10,000, considered an expert, a good cook. So I don't call myself an expert, but I do think I'm learning and make some mistakes, of course. So we're going to add some. We're going to add some cinnamon to that, and just 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Just about ready to turn that off. I'll just add that cinnamon. You don't usually think of adding cinnamon to foods and fruits, but yes, you can. So I've turned that off, and I will show you all of this. Make up a plate, small plate. I'll show you the rice. Rice. Get the out. Put that on. That on there. Nice. I wish I had the sprig of mint. That would make it look so pretty, but I don't. I left that in the side. I think I saw my husband just drive up, so guess what? Let's have some food. So here we have your meal. We have the golden rice. We have the vegetables. And you have the rata. So happy eating.
That looks amazing. I'm hungry.
I know. I wish I could. I just wish I could.
That's great, Karen. That's awesome.
Do that. Great. So, oh, hi, Madeline. I didn't see you come on. So, hi, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah. Yeah, I muted everybody, but feel free to unmute yourselves, please, if you want to ask
Yeah,
Karen any
please
question.
do. I'm
Yeah.
gonna, I can move this into the other room and we could just have a little Q&A if that's okay.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm going to stop
Okay.
the recording.
All right, and I'm gonna just take